Hey guys, this is Rock King 3 bringing you the live commentary Forza 5. This is going to be a parts and tunes episode, and what I want to show you is some new settings for my B-Class Mercedes 190E. Right now you can see I'm 1,272nd place, and I have some new settings I want to share with you guys that you can apply to other cars. And hang on there, I'm going to go ahead and take a cut here, and then you'll see my first full lap. We're going to do one lap and see how we can do against the rivals here. Alright, see you in a minute. Alright, and we're back. And I'm happy to say that my rival is a new friend of mine, B-Monstrosity. And last night in his live stream, he was giving me a hard time that he had beaten my time on this track. So this is only fitting. So we're going to run just one lap. I'm not going to perfect this lap or anything like that, but I want to show you that this tune that I have set up is working really, really well. It works really well in D class, it works really well in C class, and it works really well in B class as well. So I think B-Mon was about 950th on the leaderboard, so we're going to try to improve upon that. So one thing you're going to see about this car is I have that turbo in here that makes you shift really early, like at 5,700 RPMs. So keep that in mind when you see me shifting. This new tune that I have out here is actually a product of something Moneyman found, and he shared that with me, and we gave it a test, and it worked really, really well. So I want to give some credit to Money on that, although he found it on a forum somewhere about some settings that I'm going to show you that are really important to these new setups that I have. And unfortunately I don't know who that source is. So this new setup really allows you to drive a little bit harder, a little bit faster. And I'm able to go into the corners a little bit harder, and it still holds it pretty well. It doesn't slide out in the back. If you watch this car, it just stays solid to the ground. One of the things I had problems with before was the back end sliding around. Alright, so we gave that a go. I'm gonna go ahead and save this out, and I'll see you over in the parts bin. See you in a second. Alright, and we're back, and now I'm into the parts area to show you what we're going to do with the Mercedes 190E. I first want to show you the conversion. Oh, by the way, I ended up 224th on that track. Obviously I'd have to run a few more laps to cut another second off or so, but back to the parts. From a conversion standpoint, I did this first engine swap. This is the one with the big power band. Look at the power band above. Make sure that you are shifting between 4,000 and 5,500, 5,700 there. That is your power band. Don't get outside of that. And then drivetrain swap, we left it stock because we just had the rear-wheel drive. Alright, now having said that, we'll start at the beginning. And with the engine changes, all you have is this restrictor plate, and you are not able to purchase that because it just takes your PI up too high. So skip the engine parts. On this, we're going to have race brakes. I'm going to have race suspension. I'm going to have race anti-roll bars front and rear. Here's the important part. We have a full roll cage. And we have the middle weight reduction. Couldn't do that again from a PI standpoint. So the car is going to be a little bit heavier. Let me show you the weight real quick. 3,000 pounds, so pretty heavy. Alright, here we have the drivetrain, and we're going to have the race clutch, race transmission. This is just a PI setter, so I end up using that one for the middle one to get the PI right. You can do something different with wheels if you want. I always run heavy wheels. Race differential. We're going to do the race compound tire. The biggest width in the front, the widest width in the back, the 285s. The rims are going to be really common with me. It's going to be... Oh, I must have been able to put some PI back into it. let me find the equivalent tire. Sorry guys. That's unusual of me to not use that one particular wheel. Yeah, there we go. It was in the first one. So I'm running the Fisk Profile 5S and just find an equivalent weight for that, whichever one you like the most. And we're going to do the full rim upgrade on the front, the full rim upgrade in the back. We're going to have both race wing front and back. So those are both on there. Alright, so there's the parts. So let's go to the tune. Not the super important part, but with the thinner tires I run about 29 on both front and back. This is not a big adjustment for anything. This one is geared for a different Alps track, but I'm right around the 370. I was actually maxing out that car too much down the hill. I could actually gain some time by moving this left down the speed, go this direction, but I'll leave it at that for right now because I'm just kind of using it as a general car. So here's the one that Moneyman had shared with me, and this has seemed to work on multiple cars in the lower classes. When it gets to the A class, it doesn't quite work as well. I've been running the front negative camber at 2.0, and I have not been adjusting that one at all. The rear negative camber is 1.8, and I have worked it all the way down to 1.5. What it seems like is if the car is lighter, you want less, and if it's heavier, you want a little bit more. This is going to be a change from what we did before. We had the front toe at positive 0.1 and the rear at positive 0.1. That really does keep the back end stable. It makes it so it doesn't slide out very much. The front caster, so this would have been a 4.9 prior. I am adding 0.5 to the front caster to adjust for the negative camber up here. So the bigger negative you have up here, the bigger number you have here. 5.5, 6.0 is really common with cars that I'm playing with right now. Anti-roll bars, this is kind of my old settings, running the stiffer front end, and that's just so I don't get too much traction in the front and make the back end loosen up a little bit. I could probably soften that up a little bit now, not perfected yet. And then the rear is just standard in the middle. Again, this is pretty standard. This was an adjusted starting point for me where I put them both in the mid area. I moved the fronts back to the stiff side, and then I moved the rears to the soft side a little bit. This car is pretty low at I think it was standard at 3.6, so I didn't take it down too much further because I didn't want to bottom out too much. Again, the front rebound, I usually start at 10. I've softened that up a little bit, and I started at 5, and I've stiffened that up a little bit. That's helped me control the turns, entry and exit turns a little bit better. This bump stiffness is a little bit stiffer than usual, but I found, I think mainly because the car is so low, that I didn't have a lot of opportunity to make this part of it too soft. So this is kind of an adjustment from the car being so low to begin with. I have a lot of aero on it right now, and this one I've been playing with a little bit. You can actually go to the mid area if you would like. It still holds the turns pretty well. It just depends on what type of track you're on. If you want a little bit more speed and a little bit less handling, you know, obviously play with this number right here. I'm just making it easy to drive at this point. Brakes, I'm running this pretty standard, 53, and I usually start 110%, so obviously I wanted a little bit more braking power, so I moved that up by 1. The differential, I've been playing with this part a little bit, this first number, and I'm still having more success with this lower. I am actually starting to creep this number up a little bit on some other cars, so you're going to see me run probably 25, 30. But the deceleration I have been keeping near 10, just depending on what kind of rear end reaction I get from the car when I take turns and when I slow down and when I downshift. So this is the new setup that I've been working with. Thanks to Moneyman300 for finding that information on the alignment piece. It's actually worked really well. I've used it on a D-Class, even a front-wheel drive Mini Cooper. It works really well. And I have worked on 4 C-Class cars, which all 4 of them on 4 different tracks ended up in the top 50. And then this Mercedes that I put into the B class, I'm going to keep expanding that out a little bit. I'm going to continue to work on the tunes and builds, the parts and tunes for you guys. And I'm going to keep going up a letter, and then I'll reset back down to D after I get through S. So hopefully everybody finds a car that they enjoy. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. We'll catch you later.